Good day, everyone. Again, I am your subject teacher in oral communication and context. In the previous video, I did a further discussion of the nature and process of communication, and in this video, you are going to learn more about the functions of communication. If you are already done studying, or if you have already finished answering the first module that was given to you in our subject, you might have already learned something about the functions of communication. But as you see in the module, there are many functions of communication that were presented to you, that you have learned. And most of them are very specific types, of regarding the functions of communication. But what I will be discussing in this video are general, functions of communication. So we have 5 general functions of communication. We have, the first is information, the information function of communication. Another is control or regulation. We also have motivation. Another is emotional expression. And lastly, or the 5th one, is social interaction. Start discussing to you the first function of communication. Let me give you first this scenario, or let's say dialogue. For example, your classmate has informed you that the school opening, or the opening of classes for school year 2020-2021 is moved from the originally August 24, 2020, moved to October 5, 2020. So upon hearing that from your classmate, you are informed with this current or latest news, important information that there is a change with the date of the opening of the school year. So that is actually the first function of communication. Communication functions to inform you, to provide information, data, to convey or give, some sort of news, a piece of knowledge, piece of information to you. So that is the first function of communication. That is information. With regard to the second function, general function of communication, let me give you this, again, sample scenario or situation. Have you ever experienced being reprimanded by a certain teacher in school? Perhaps you were very noisy, you were misbehaving, or you were not paying attention during the lecture discussion of your teacher, and your teacher told you to be quiet. For example, your name is Hannah, and your teacher said, "Hannah, stop talking, please be quiet." So let's say that is the scenario. So that situation, what do you think is the function of communication? The function of communication in that scenario is none other than to control or regulate behavior. So regulation or control, it is also called as regulation or control. In this function of communication, communication functions to control behavior so that there would be some regulation of behavior. So that is an example of that. Whenever people would communicate to us to limit our behavior, to control our actions, in a particular communicative situation, then the function of communication there is none other than regulation or control. Same way when, let's say, you go to or you visit your doctor, and after the diagnosis of your doctor about what you're feeling, about your health, giving some advices and so on and so forth, your doctor would finally give you a certain prescription, if you have already experienced going to a doctor. So the doctor would give you a certain prescription. Let's say your doctor prescribe you to take this medicine 3 times a day after every meal, so that prescription is actually functioning as regulation or control, because your doctor is giving you this specific prescription, okay, that you only have to take this medicine 3 times a day, not more than that, or not less than 3 times a day. Okay, I know that you get what I mean. So that is what we mean by the second function of communication, which is regulation or control. Now we are down to the third general function of communication. So let me again ask a question. Since the start of the school year last October 5, and that is just a week ago, may I ask you, have you ever been feeling a bit down, or perhaps you've been feeling a bit unmotivated, or perhaps lazy in answering your self-learning modules? So in that situation, if you are experiencing that, what you need the most, okay, from people around you, from your environment, is actually motivation. Okay, so that is the third general function of communication. It's motivation. So communication functions to motivate or encourage people, okay, for them to do better, for them to achieve good results or better results, for them to accomplish a task, and so on. So let's say you've been feeling that way while answering your self-learning modules, and your family member, let's say your mother, okay, as you've shared your hardships in answering the modules, and your mother told you or tells you, you can do it, okay, this school year is a challenge to you, but I believe in you, you can do it. So your mother telling you those words, okay, those statements, is actually a way to motivate you, okay, to go on, and would in a way give you strength and inspire you to still finish answering your modules and still go on in studying and learning amid the pandemic. So this way of communicating, okay, that particular communicative scenario actually functions the motivation function of communication. Fourth general function of communication is perhaps another very basic function of communication along the information function. And what I'm talking about is emotional expression. So emotional expression, communication functions here to simply, from the word itself, express your feelings, okay? Express your feelings and emotions, whatever they are. So we do this whether consciously or unconsciously, and we don't just express emotions again through verbal means or through words, but we also do it, okay, together verbally. We also do it non-verbally, okay. So our body language, gestures, most especially our facial expressions, our eyes, they are a reflection or mirror to our emotions and feelings. And so this alone, this non-verbal cues or signals alone communicate our emotions and feelings. So that is the fourth function of communication. So we do this actually not only face-to-face, we may be doing this also, or not we may be doing this, we are doing this, okay, virtually or online. For example, when we chat or message our classmates or friends or whoever they are, and we use some emojis, okay, or we try to react to their post, whether that is a heart react, like react, angry, and so on and so forth. Just that mere act of clicking those react buttons, okay, that is already emotional expression, okay. It expresses your like or dislike, okay, or your feelings about a certain post, okay. And even when you comment, you do that. So that is emotional expression. We are now down to the last general function of communication. So in this last general function of communication, again, we do this consciously or unconsciously, and that is because we are humans, and as humans, we interact. Am I right? In our day-to-day lives, we interact not only with our families, okay, but because we have already social media, we also interact with other people, Perhaps we also interact sometimes with strangers, okay? With our acquaintances, with our colleagues or workers. So we interact with a lot of people. Well, of course, depending, of course, with how many people you are really acquainted with, how big your circle of friends is. So in this function, actually I'm talking about the social interaction function of communication. Communication functions to build relationships, specifically human relationships, to establish friendships, okay, to establish relationships in the workplace, and so on and so forth. So we do this, especially when we go to school. Simple greetings that we do with our friends, with our peers, okay? The formal greetings that we do with our teachers. So just simple hi or hello, or asking someone, how are you? May that be face-to-face or through social media. That is already social interaction. So this function of communication, it's already innate to us. Okay, it's like an inherent function of communication because, well, we are humans, and there is this saying that no man is an island. Okay, so there's a need to interact socially, whether we are forced or we are fond. Okay, whether we are forced or not, or that we are fond of socialization. Usually we really interact, okay? Especially when there is a need, or that when we are just really being friendly, we do social interaction. Okay, so I've already discussed the 5 general functions of, or general or basic functions of communication, and I would give you a situation here, and I want you to identify what function or functions of communication are being used or being represented in this situation. So let me give you the situation. Let's say, let's use the most recent, I think, I'm not sure if it's an ordinance, but I've read it in Facebook from the wall of the local government, or LGU in Pulangi. And according in that, I think, ordinance, it's telling people that the municipality of Pulangi would, or the LGU Pulangi would be, or would enforce or implement more, or would be more strict, okay, in monitoring people's wearing of face mask and face shield. Okay, so again, the situation is LGU Pulangi would inform the people that they would be more strict in monitoring the wearing of face mask and face shield in public. Okay, so in that situation, what do you think is or are the functions of communication? What do you think? If you have some answers, okay, again, you comment them down below. Just make sure to write your, or put your name, indicate your name and section. So what do you think? Okay, so with regards to that situation, actually there is not only one, but there are, if I analyze it correctly, there are 2, okay, functions of communication in that scenario. The first is basically it's the information function, because first it informs the public that in going out of their houses, okay, or going to public, out to the comforts of their houses, they have to always wear face mask and face shield. Okay, so first, okay, that ordinance functions as information. And the second is, I think you got it, the regulation and control function of communication, because it tries to limit, okay, misbehaviors, or what do you call this? It limits the violations. Okay, it limits the violations of people who might attempt to not wear face mask or face shield when going out of their houses. So the second function in that situation is regulation or control. Okay, so that is a sample scenario wherein you would realize that a particular scenario could function not only one, okay, but communication could function more than one in a particular situation. Okay? So if you have any more questions, you might just comment them down below so that I can respond to them. Okay? So thank you very much for watching this video. I will just put in the comment section what activity or question you're going to answer, or I might just post it in our Google Classroom. Okay, thank you for watching. Till next time in the next discussion video that I will post.